Hey everyone, welcome back. You're picturing a future with them giving up things, going the extra mile, maybe even putting your own dreams on hold because their happiness comes first. They tell you they love you, but they treat you like an afterthought. They forget what you said. They forget the plans you made together. And yet, they still say they care. It's like they're living in a paradox, where their words say one thing, and their actions say something else. Have you ever wondered if they really love you, or if they're just staying with you because it's convenient? Maybe they're not as invested in the relationship as you are, or maybe they're holding on to something that isn't there anymore. And what if you're trying to attract someone new, and they're ignoring you? That's still. Being ignored can feel intense, especially when you're trying to make a real connection. But here's the thing, their distance doesn't always mean they value you less. Today, we're going to go deep into this confusing push-pull and show you what's really going on underneath the surface. So hit that like button if you're ready to find out the truth about their mixed signals and get the clarity you deserve. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to interpret their actions and what steps to take for yourself. So stick around, you won't want to miss music. So let's be honest, if someone really loves you, there might be a few. I'm about to list the top 3 reasons they're pulling away or ignoring you. But there's more. We're also going to talk about the possibility that they're only staying because it's convenient, or because you're nice to them. What if they decide to leave one day? It's hard to face, but you have to be ready for everything. As our Stoic friend Seneca once said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. In relationships, it's the same way. We'll talk about everything from why they might really love you, but act distant, to the harsh truth of whether they're just staying away out of comfort. Let's dive in and get the strength and clarity we need to face whatever comes next. But first, let me tell you something. No matter where they stand, the only thing we can control is ourselves, not them. That's where Stoicism comes in to save us. We're going to break it down from every angle, and this lesson is one you don't want to miss. Stay tight, share, because this insight could be the game that helps you reclaim your peace and power. And remember, you have to stand strong no matter how hard things get. This lesson isn't meant to hurt your feelings. It's meant to remind you of your strength and resilience. Say, I stand strong with me in the comments to say that no matter what happens, you're grounded, unshakable, and committed to putting yourself first. Let this be your reminder that you have the power to handle anything that comes your way. So why are they ignoring you if they love you? Here are 3 possible reasons. 1. They show affection in a way that you don't expect. Love languages are different, and not everyone shows affection in the same way. You might be looking for verbal affirmations, frequent check-ins, or time spent together, but they may show affection in a quieter, more subtle way. Maybe love isn't that important to them. It's not about always talking, but about being there when it matters. Let's look at a classic relationship situation. You send them a text message about something important that happened in your day, and they don't respond for hours. This may feel like a lack of care, but for them, it's just how they are. They might value quality time over constant messages, or they might find it hard to open up through words alone. This disconnect can cause tension, making you wonder if they really value you. An example from real online forums shows how common this is. One woman shared her frustration that her partner rarely texted her back. She thought this meant he was losing interest, but it turned out that he actually liked face-to-face conversations. He thought that was the most authentic way to connect. By talking it out, she realized that his love language wasn't texting or frequent updates, but small acts of service like fixing things around the house or surprising her with her favorite coffee. Imagine you and your partner are speaking English and they are speaking French without any translations. They may think they are showing love by fixing your car or cooking dinner. But if you're looking for sweet messages or more verbal affection, it can feel like they aren't paying attention. This gap between expectation and reality can be hard to bridge, but it starts with realizing that people show affection in different ways. A plant and a flower may help you understand this. Cactus. Some people's love is like a plant that needs constant watering, care, and reassurance. Others' love is like a cactus. They're steady, don't need as much attention, and may even seem prickly. But they're strong and deeply rooted. Just because they don't need or give constant attention doesn't mean they don't care. They just thrive differently. Note, giving them time to express themselves in their own way can work wonders, but that doesn't mean the relationship is doomed to last. It's been shown that different ways of communicating can cause misunderstandings, and sometimes partners will drift apart if they can't find a middle ground. That's okay. If you believe in the foundation of your relationship, giving them space to show love in their own way while gently sharing your needs can be transformative. Just remember that patience and understanding are key, but they also have limits. If you're constantly feeling unfulfilled despite your best efforts, it might be time to end the relationship. Reconsider. But that might not be the case for everyone, because if someone loves you, they'll usually go out of their way to make you feel important. They'll pay attention to the little things, remember the details, and show up in ways that speak directly to your heart. Most of the time, love is about those small, everyday acts that reassure us that we're important in their lives. So if you're not feeling that, it could mean something else is going on. Let's move on to the second reason. They're afraid of losing their. People might ignore you even if they love you because they don't want to lose their independence. For some people, love and relationships make them feel too vulnerable, and they worry that being deeply committed means giving up parts of themselves. This fear can make them pull away, not because they don't care, but because they don't want to lose their sense of self in the relationship. Imagine someone who has always valued their freedom and has spent years building a life they love. They're used to making their own decisions, following their passions, and living their lives without feeling tied to someone else's expectations. For these people, starting a relationship, especially with someone they really care about, can feel like going into uncharted territory. They may be afraid that getting too close will mean giving up their personal goals or giving up the routines and solitude they value. An example from relationship forums shows this well. A man talked about how he felt when he felt. He was deeply in love with his partner, but he resisted her need for closeness, which made her feel rejected. He later admitted that he wasn't resisting her presence, but the thought that he would lose touch with who he was. His need for independence wasn't because he didn't love her. It was about finding a way to be in the relationship without losing himself over time. He learned to talk to his partner about this fear, which helped her understand that his pullback moments weren't because he didn't care, but were meant to protect his. They've spent years protecting their independence, which they see as a valuable treasure. They're on the edge of love, but they're afraid of diving in too deep and losing that treasure. It's as if they're saying, "I want to be with you, but I don't want to lose myself." This fear is common, especially among people who have been single for a long time, or who have been in relationships where they felt smothered or controlled. But let's be honest, if someone really loves you, they will. If someone really loves you, they'll find a way to include you in their life instead of pushing you away out of fear. This is because most of the time when someone cares deeply, they want to make the relationship stronger by finding ways to balance closeness and independence. But let me remind you again, this journey shouldn't be about forcing them to change or hoping that they'll come around. It should be about focus on what you can control. As our Stoic friend Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Instead of focusing on their fear of commitment, work on improving your own sense of self-worth. They need to face their fears of losing independence on their own. You can't do it for them. Sometimes, giving them space to deal with this fear can help them come to terms with it and might inspire them to explore the. Remember that if they aren't willing to let down their walls even a little, it's not a sign of how much you're worth. It's a sign of their own internal struggle. Now let's quickly move on to the last reason they might be ignoring you even if they love you. Stay tuned, because after this, we'll talk about that lingering fear that whispers, "What if?" Third, they're dealing with personal problems that have nothing to do with you. The third reason someone might ignore you, even if they love you, is that they're having a hard time with things that have nothing to do with you. Life can be hard, and when people are going through inner struggles or outside pressures, they may become distant, not because they want to push you away, but because they're having a hard time staying afloat. Even the most important relationships can take a back seat when someone is in survival mode, trying to hold on while stress, self-doubt, or fear rage around them. It's hard to focus on anything other than getting through the day. For some people, showing love during these times can feel like an added burden instead of a source of comfort, no matter how much they care. Instead of seeing their distance as rejection, think of it as a storm reflecting what's going on inside them. One woman on forum talked about how her partner became distant when he lost his job. He stopped calling as often, seemed distracted, and barely talked about his feelings. She started to worry that he was losing interest, but when they finally talked, he admitted that he'd been feeling ashamed and overwhelmed while trying to rebuild his confidence. His silence wasn't a sign of lack of love. It was the result of his internal struggle. Once she realized that his withdrawal was temporary, she was able to. It's easy to take someone's distance in a relationship as a statement about us, but sometimes they're just dealing with their own problems. Think of their silence as a wave receding before it comes back stronger. Sometimes they need to pull back, get stronger, and find their footing before they can fully reconnect. Your patience and understanding can be a lighthouse in their storm, reminding them that support and love are waiting when they need it. While it's important to be kind and give them space, it's also important to remember your own worth. As Stoicism teaches, you can't control their journey. You can only control how you react to it. As Epicurus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. This means that while they may be going through hard times, you should focus on your own health and happiness. Be there for them if they reach out, but keep your life moving forward and find strength in yourself. But here's a reminder, if someone really loves you, they'll try to share some of what they're going through, even if it's just a little. They might not tell you everything, but they'll give you a glimpse, a sign that you're still a part of their world. If they're consistently distant and don't tell you what's going on, you might want to ask them if they're ready for a relationship as difficult as yours. Setting boundaries and maintaining your self-worth not only protects you, but it also lets them face their struggles without the stress of constant. Now that we've talked about the top reasons why they might be ignoring you even if they love you, let's talk about that nagging fear that they might not be interested anymore. Let's look into that possibility and see what it really means for you. But before we do that, if you're enjoying this video, please leave a "keep it up" in the comments. It really inspires us to keep making videos like this and helps more people find these insights. Thank you for your support. Now, we'll get to the meat of the video. What if they don't really love you? What if their actions reveal a truth that their words don't? It's hard to face, but knowing this possibility can give you the clarity and strength you need to protect your heart. Stay with me, because I'm about to reveal signs and insights that will help you see things as they really are and give you the power to make the best decisions for yourself. Sign 1. They're always unavailable when you need them. So the first thing that tells you they might not really care is if they're not there for you when you need them. Imagine having a bad day and wanting a comforting word from someone you care about, but when you try to reach out, they're always too busy or don't respond at all. They might say they're tired or that they'll get back to you later, but later never comes. If someone is truly interested, they find a way to be there for you, even in small ways, all the time. When someone isn't available, on the other hand, it could mean that their priorities don't match up with yours. Let's look at a common relationship situation. You've made an effort to check in on them, support them, and be there for them when things get tough, but when it's your turn, they're nowhere to be found. This lack of reciprocity can leave you feeling undervalued and wondering where you really stand in the relationship. It's not about being available all the time. It's about showing up when it matters. If someone cares, they'll make the time. In a relationship forum, a woman talked about how she often felt ignored by her partner, who only seemed to be there when he needed something from her. She had helped him through problems, but she was left alone when she had her own. Eventually, she realized that her partner's lack of availability wasn't because he was busy, but because he wasn't interested in her. Her story shows that being available shows commitment and respect, which are two important parts of any real relationship. Marcus Aurelius said that the soul is colored by its thoughts. Instead of letting their lack of availability make you doubt yourself, focus on your own strength and self-worth. If they're not showing up, you don't have to keep waiting. Instead, use that energy to strengthen yourself. If you're feeling ignored or unimportant, this is a chance to put your health first. Try telling yourself, Their absence does not define me. Write it down. Say it out loud. And yes, post it in the comments as a promise to yourself. Remember that these lessons aren't meant to hurt you. They're meant to make you stronger and more resilient. That's why we want you to share these affirmations in the comments. It shows us and yourself that these insights are helping you, showing you the truth, and giving you the strength to stand tall. Let's look at these little signs of your strength. Leave a comment with, "Their absence does not define me," to let us know you're on this journey with us. Stand firm and powerful. Ultimately, someone who truly values you will be there for you, not just when it's easy, but when it matters. If they're not, don't wait for them to see your worth. See it in yourself. Let's move on to the next sign that might tell us more about where you really stand. Sign 2. People whose actions don't always match their words are one of the clearest signs that something is wrong. If you've been in that situation, you know how frustrating it can be when they say they care about you and are committed, but when it comes down to it, their actions don't always match their words. They say they'll spend more time to be there when you need them to, but they never do. Over time, this lack of consistency can start to wear you down. Imagine someone who says, "You mean the world to me," but then doesn't call when they say they will, or cancels plans at the last minute. It's like building a bridge across a river and then leaving you stranded. Each broken promise is a crack in the foundation that makes it harder to trust and makes you feel alone in the relationship. It's like they're giving you a taste of what love could be like, but never really delivering on it. A story shared on a forum shows this. I know of a man in a long-distance relationship whose partner always talked about moving closer, making plans for a future together, and reassuring him of her love. But every time she had the chance to do something, she found an excuse. Over time, he realized that her words were just empty promises, and her actions showed that she wasn't really committed. Eventually, he had to take a step back and see the situation for what it was. A relationship based on hope instead of reality. Like the branches of a tree, words can reach out and make you feel connected, but without roots, those branches won't last long. Actions, on the other hand, are what hold those promises in place and give them the strength to grow. When someone really cares, their actions back up their words, creating a balance that makes you feel safe and valued. Without that alignment, you feel like you're standing on shaky ground. This is where Stoic wisdom can really help. Instead of focusing on their words, Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone can show me that what I think or do is wrong, I will gladly change it, for I seek the truth." This quote reminds us to see things as they really are, not as we wish they were. If their actions tell you something different, believe the truth and let go of the illusions that are holding you back. So if you're torn between what they say and what they do, remember, words don't define me. Say it, write it, and yes, drop it in the comments to show your commitment to seeing. This affirmation isn't just for you, it's for everyone here to know that we're building a strong community where actions speak louder than words. Let this be a reminder that you deserve honesty, consistency, and someone who shows up with more than just words. If you're on this journey with us, drop "words don't define me" in the comments to let us know that you're choosing truth over empty promises, being strong, and embracing the power of self-worth. Let's keep going and find the next sign that might reveal even more. If someone doesn't seem interested in your life or goals, it could mean that they're not as interested in you as you think they are. If someone really cares about you, they'll want to know what drives you, what excites you, and what you want to achieve. They'll ask you questions, celebrate your wins, and back up your dreams. But if someone only seems interested in their own life, they might not be as interested in your priorities. Imagine telling them about a personal or exciting event, a passion project, a goal you're trying to reach, or even a simple hobby you're interested in, and instead of excitement, they respond with silence, a dismissive comment, or a quick change of subject. Over time, this lack of engagement can make you feel small, like your dreams don't matter. In a healthy relationship, both partners support each other the most, but if they're not interested in what makes you happy, it could mean they're only there for the surface. Consider a story posted in a relationship forum about a man whose partner never showed any interest in his career goals. While he often supported her goals, she didn't do the same for him, brushing off his ambitions as unimportant. He slowly realized that her lack of interest wasn't just a personality difference. It showed a lack of depth in their relationship. Eventually, he decided to end the relationship, realizing that a fulfilling relationship requires mutual support and respect for each other's lives beyond the relationship. If you think of interest and support as sunlight and water for a plant, then relationships need both to grow. When someone really loves you, they'll take joy in seeing you grow and change. They'll give you sunlight by listening to your goals and water by being there for you, whether it's to cheer you on or offer help. Without these things, a relationship can become stifling, leaving one person feeling emotionally undernourished at times like these. Stoicism is a powerful way of looking at things. Instead of focusing on how other people don't care about you, focus on the things that make you happy. As Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then dress yourself accordingly." Your dreams, ambitions, and goals are a part of who you are. Don't let anyone tell you they're not worth pursuing. This is your life, and you can explore your path forward with or without their support. If you're feeling ignored or unsupported, remind yourself of this. I don't need their approval to say it, write it, and yes, drop it. It's not just for you, it's a statement to everyone here that your goals matter. Let it serve as a reminder that your dreams are worth love, attention, and commitment. Stand firm in knowing that you don't need someone else's approval to chase what makes you feel alive. And if you're with us on this journey, drop "I don't need their approval" in the comments to let us know that you're choosing self-respect over indifference. Standing tall and embracing the fall. The fourth sign that someone might not be fully invested in the relationship is if they avoid making future plans or commitments with you. If someone really sees a future with you, they'll naturally include you in their plans, whether it's next month's weekend getaway, a family gathering, or even long-term goals like moving in together or planning trips. But if they avoid making plans or commitments with you, it could mean that they're not fully invested in the relationship. If someone hesitates or constantly avoids talking about the future, it could mean that they're not sure how committed they are, or that they want to keep their options open. For example, if you're excitedly talking about a trip you've always wanted to take together, or a big event like an anniversary, and the other person doesn't join in on the fun, it could mean that they're not interested in making long-term plans. or that they feel uncomfortable when you bring up anything that might involve a commitment. Over time, this behavior can make you feel insecure and question where the relationship is going. An example from a relationship forum shows this behavior. A woman said that her partner would agree to last-minute dates, but would never commit to anything longer than a few days. When she brought up meeting each other's families or planning a longer trip together, he would say it was too early, or that he wasn't ready to think that far ahead. Eventually, she told him about it, and he agreed. She knew that his unwillingness to commit showed that he wasn't really interested in a future with her, so she chose to move on for her own clarity and peace of mind. Imagine commitment as building a house together. If someone is interested in a shared future, they'll lay down bricks with you one by one to make something solid and lasting. Not making plans for the future is like showing up to the construction site empty-handed and unwilling to put in the time or effort to build a foundation. This lack of commitment is like focusing on the reality in front of you instead of holding out hope that they'll change or come around is a powerful lesson in these situations. As Seneca once said, "It's the power of the mind to be unconquerable." When someone avoids commitment, take it as a sign to reclaim your power and stop putting your time and energy into a relationship that may not offer you the future you deserve. If you find yourself constantly hoping that they'll change or come around, it's time to move on to someone else. I rise above their drama is more than just a mantra. It's a reminder to take charge of your own happiness. Say it, write it, and yes, drop it in the comments to show that you're choosing self-worth over uncertainty. Be sure that you deserve someone who's excited to plan a future with you, not someone who treats you like a temporary option. And yes, drop "I rise above their drama" in the comments to show that you're ready to. Let's keep going and find the next sign that may tell you even more about where you stand. Sign 5. They don't try to solve problems. If someone doesn't try to solve problems, they may not really be invested in the relationship. Disagreements are normal in relationships, and they're often chances for growth and understanding. If both people are committed, they'll work through problems. It's important to talk about your feelings and try to find common ground. But if they avoid hard conversations, brush them off, or refuse to compromise, it's a clear sign that they may not be as committed as they say they are. For example, if you bring up a concern, they might dismiss it as unimportant, or blame you for something that's been bothering you for a while, instead of listening and fixing it. This can make you feel unheard and undervalued, and it can even make you wonder if you're in a healthy relationship. Both partners should care enough to engage, apologize if needed, and take steps to improve. When someone doesn't make that effort, they're putting their comfort over the well-being of the relationship. An online story shows how destructive this lack of effort can be. A man talked about how his partner would stonewall him whenever he brought up a problem. She would refuse to talk, leave the room, or dismiss his concerns, leaving him feeling alone and emotionally abandoned. Eventually, he realized that her unwillingness to work through problems was causing him a lot of emotional pain. He also realized that a relationship could never be satisfying if only one person tried to solve problems. He chose to put his own happiness ahead of staying with someone who wouldn't deal with their problems. He compared resolving problems to taking care of a garden. Problems are like weeds that always show up in a committed relationship. and both partners have to pull them out together so the garden can grow. But when one person refuses to participate, the weeds grow unchecked and take over the garden, stifling any chance for true connection. Without a shared effort to resolve conflicts, the relationship turns into a place of resentment instead of growth. Stoicism can help us here by telling us to focus on what we can control instead of pushing to resolve conflicts with someone who doesn't want to engage. We can take a step back and ask ourselves if this relationship is really serving us, as Epicurus said. If they won't meet you halfway, let that teach you a lesson in where to put your energy. If you find yourself constantly trying to solve problems on your own, tell yourself, I deserve peace. This isn't just a statement, it's a powerful reminder that you deserve a partner who respects your voice and values the relationship enough to work through problems together. Say it, write it, and yes, drop it in the comments as a promise to honor your own. If you're with us on this journey, leave I deserve peace in the comments to let us know that you're choosing self-respect over unresolved conflict, putting peace first, and embracing the strength to move forward without constant battles. Let's keep going and find the last sign, which may tell us even more about where you really stand. Sign 6. They only reach out when it's convenient for them. This is the last sign that might show they aren't really committed. They only reach out when it's convenient for them. If they only show up in your life when it works for them or their mood, that's a clear sign that they may not be fully committed to a healthy, meaningful relationship. A real connection requires work from both sides, not just when it's convenient or easy. Imagine this. You've gone out of your way to make time for them, support them, and put the relationship first. But when you're having a bad day and need advice, or just want to share a moment, they're not there for you. You might feel used and undervalued when your partner disappears for days without communicating, and only comes back when they need emotional support or favors, even though they initially made excuses for this behavior. This inconsistency can make you question whether your relationship is truly mutual. One person shared an online story about how their partner would disappear for days without communicating, and only come back when they needed emotional support or favors. Eventually, they saw a pattern. Their partner was only interested when they wanted something, not because they wanted to be close or helpful. Realizing this helped them understand that a relationship should be about mutual care, not convenience. Think of connection as a two-way street. Someone who truly cares is willing to travel that street at any time, no matter how convenient it is for them. They reach out to show support, interest, and care, not just because it benefits them. When someone only contacts you when they want to, it can make you feel like a rest stop on their journey instead of a valued partner. Stoicism teaches us that we should focus on what we can control, like our response, our boundaries, and our sense of self-worth. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Instead of waiting for their attention, put your own needs first. If their actions don't meet your needs, it's a reminder to put your energy where it's needed. Say it out loud. Write it down. And yes, drop it in the comments to let them know that you value yourself too much to let being treated as an option. This isn't just about them. It's about setting your own standards. So if you're on this journey with us, drop I am better independent in the comments to let us know that you're standing firm in your worth, putting relationships where you're valued first, and embracing the strength to thrive on your own terms. Let's do this. Let this last sign remind you that you deserve respect, consistency, and real commitment. Remember that these signs aren't meant to put you down. They're meant to help you see your relationships clearly and make choices that honor your worth. If someone really values you, they'll be there for you in good times and bad. They'll make you feel seen, and they'll work through problems with you. If any of these signs feel familiar, get back on track with your growth goals. Peace of mind. You deserve someone who's truly there for you, not just when things are going well, but when they really matter. If these insights were helpful, please share them with your friends. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more empowering content. Stay strong, stay independent, and most of all, keep valuing yourself. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.